Everyone in the music world right now is either panicking about AI or promoting it. And honestly, both camps are missing the point. The panic crowd thinks AI is going to replace musicians. The promotion crowd is out collecting sponsorship checks from AI platforms and calling it the future of creativity. I'm not in either one of those camps. What I want to do is to show you what history actually tells us about moments like this one, because it's not the first time that new technology has appeared and everyone assumed it would destroy music. It's happened many times before. And what actually happened each time is genuinely surprising. Because once you understand the pattern, AI stops being something to fear or to worship. It becomes something to position yourself around. And that's exactly what a serious musician needs to be doing right now. Now, before we get into it, everything I cover on this channel connects back to a bigger framework called the Amateur to Pro Music Artist Operating System, which is built around applying real business principles to music careers. I've got a community on School where we work through all of this together. It's free to join, and the link is in the description. Now, let's get into it. So, there's a pattern that shows up every single time a new technology disrupts the creative industry. First comes the fear. Then comes a prediction that that technology will wipe out the humans. And then, almost every time, what actually happens is more complicated and more interesting than either side predicted. The middle and lower end of the markets do get compressed. The top end, however, gets stronger. And the overall industry usually ends up being bigger than it ever was before. I've looked at patterns across a lot of different industries, and three particular examples particularly map almost exactly into what's happening with AI and music right now. So let's walk through them. Example one, the recording machine and the death of real music. So here's one musicians don't know about. When the phonograph was invented in the late 1800s, recording technology started to become commercial. The backlash from professional musicians was immediate and fierce. John Philip Sousa, one of the most famous composers in America at the time, wrote a widely circulated essay in 1906 called The Menace of Mechanical Music. He genuinely believed that the recording sound would destroy the music soul of society. The people would stop learning instruments, the music would become passive and mechanical and lose its humanity. The American Federation of Musicians even ran campaigns against recorded music, calling it a terrible menace and an evil robot. Their newspaper ads literally showed robots grinding musical instruments into garbage with the warning that machines have no soul and would destroy the emotional art of music. Sound familiar? Here's what actually happened. Recording technology didn't kill music, it exploded it. It created entire new industries, record labels, radio, eventually streaming. This all generated billions of dollars and gave musicians access to audiences that would have been completely impossible in a live only world. The musicians who adapted are the ones who thrived. The musicians who refused to engage with the new reality became increasingly irrelevant, and the overall amount of music being created, consumed, monetized went through the roof. The lesson isn't that the fear was stupid. The fear was understandable. The lesson is that technology didn't replace the human element. It amplified the reach, the humans who figured out how to use it. Now, for example number two. The electric guitar and the inauthentic sound. In the 1930s, when the electric guitar started appearing in jazz and blues circles, the reaction from traditionalists was almost identical to what we're seeing with AI today. Purists argued that the electric guitar didn't produce a real or authentic musical sound, that it was a shortcut, it was cheating, that anyone who used one was compromising the integrity of the instrument and the music. What actually happened is that the electric guitar created rock and roll. It gave musicians access to sounds and volumes and expressiveness that were physically impossible with acoustic instruments. It didn't make music less human. It made it louder, wilder, more emotionally powerful than it ever had been before. But there's a nuance that's important for today. The acoustic guitar didn't disappear. It just carved out its own lane. Artists who understood the emotional vocabulary of an unplugged instrument found audiences who valued exactly that. The two coexist, and they still do today. When a new technology expands what's possible, it doesn't erase what came before. It adds a layer. The question is always, what layer are you operating in, and are you doing it with intention? Now, example number 3, Napster and the death of the music industry. This is definitely one of my more favorite ones because it's one I actually got to live in. This is one of the more recent and is most directly relevant. In 1999, Napster launched peer to peer file sharing, and within months, tens of millions of people were downloading music for free. The record industry declared that it was over. The music as a commercial enterprise was finished, that technology had finally destroyed the business model that supported artists. The RIAA filed lawsuits. Metallica testified before Congress. Major labels watched their CD sales collapse and genuinely believed that they were watching the end of everything that they had built. And in the short term, the pain was real. CD revenue did crater. A lot of the infrastructure that had existed around physical distribution genuinely didn't survive. But here's what actually happened next. The crisis forced the industry to rebuild around digital distribution. iTunes created a new model, and streaming created another. As of right now, based off of numbers in 2025, in the middle of the loudest AI panic the music industry has ever seen, global recorded music revenues just crossed over $31.7 billion, the highest level in recorded history. The 11th consecutive year of growth. The industry that was destroyed by digital technology is worth more right now than it has ever been. Now, that doesn't mean everybody won. Independent artists are still fighting for fair streaming rights. The distribution of money is still deeply unequal. There are real structural problems. But the industry as a whole, the creative ecosystem, the live music market, the total economic value of music is bigger than it was before Napster, not smaller. The crisis didn't kill music, it killed the old model. And the artists who adapted to the new model are operating in a larger total market than the ones that existed before. So, what does this actually mean for AI? Here's my honest take. And I want to be clear this is a position, not a certainty. AI is going to follow the same pattern. The bottom end of the market, generic, interchangeable, commodity level music production is going to get compressed. If what you're creating could be described as background music, filler content, or just good enough, AI is going to do that cheaper and faster than a human can. The part of the market that is genuinely at risk, I think it's already happening. But on the top end, the artists who have a genuine point of view, a defined identity, an emotional vocabulary that's distinctly theirs, those artists are not going to get replaced because what they're creating isn't just a product, it's a relationship. And AI cannot replace a relationship. The recording machine didn't replace musicians, it gave them global reach. The electric guitar didn't replace acoustic music. It expanded the sonic vocabulary of what music could be. Napster didn't kill the industry. It forced the industry to build a better model. AI is not going to kill music, but it is going to raise the floor of what acceptable sounds like. And that means the standard for what makes a musician worth paying attention to, worth following, worth investing in as a fan, that standard is going up. It's not a threat if you are a serious musician. It's only a filter. Here's the real takeaway, and it connects directly to why this channel exists. Every time a technology disruption has hit the music industry, the artists who survived and thrived weren't the ones who panicked or the ones who blindly embraced the new thing. They were the ones who were already operating with clarity about who they are, who their music was for, and what made them irreplaceable, what makes them stand out. It's not a reaction to AI. That's what a professional music career looks like. If you have a defined vision, a clear reason why you exist as an artist, a specific audience you're serving, a sound, an identity that's genuinely yours, then AI is a tool that you can use to work more efficiently. just like a recording machine, just like an electric guitar, just like the digital distribution. If you don't have that foundation, then AI isn't your problem. The absence of your foundation is your problem. AI just makes it visibly faster. The APM artist operating system starts with that foundation: your mission, your vision, your positioning as an artist, because that's what makes every other decision make sense. And that's the thing that no AI is going to build for you, because it has to come from you. If this reframed how you're thinking about AI and your music career, here's what I want you to do. Drop a comment and tell me this. When you think about what makes your music irreplaceable, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Put a comment here. I read all of them and I answer all of them. If you want to work to build that foundation, your mission, identity, positioning, your vision that makes you AI proof, that's exactly what we do at the Amateur to Pro Music community on School. It's free to join. Again, the link is in the bio. Subscribe if you want to keep building. This channel is for musicians who are done reacting and ready to start operating like professionals. I'll see you on the next one.